have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Scholars of Wrestling. This is Scholar Tarek, alongside me as always. Hello, Scholar Brian.
Hi! Now, I realize that we didn't do what we normally do. We did not preview Extreme Rules and do predictions like we normally do. What we did was give Extreme Rules the respect it deserved. Which is basically... And we move on.
It's actually kind of funny. I wanted to... the whole idea of us doing the whole prediction show for Extreme Rules last week, I was planning this whole intro, just how I felt about Extreme Rules, but going like, welcome to the Extreme edition of the Scholars of Wrestling, because we're going to preview Extreme Rules. And I brought my Mountain Dew, and if you listen closely as I open it, you can hear the extreme coming out of it. I was planning this with a bottle, but right now I actually have a can of Mountain Dew with me, so this is what I was going to do. You see? Wait, listen. Extreme! Do you hear the extreme coming out of that Mountain Dew? That was how I was feeling. How WWE felt about Extreme Rules. How that's, like, if you look back at, like, the Harold and Kumar, those group of idiots that was, like, putting everything to the extreme Doritos, let's all drink some Mountain Dew. That's how I felt WWE was looking at Extreme Rules. As a joke. I was actually planning on having fun with this. And then I watched Extreme Rules, and what were the commentators drinking? Mountain Dew. Yep. I was just like, oh my god, they took my joke and actually ran with it. You stupid bastards.
Yeah. And then Booker T drank some beer and came out with the dumbest statement ever said the next night on Raw.
That Owen Hart statement?
The Owen Hart statement. How did he not think he was going to get backlash on that statement?
I actually totally missed that statement, that whole comment he made.
Owen Hart didn't defy gravity, and I was like, ooh.
Ooh. Ooh. And then Booker T's reaction, what, too soon? No, it'll always be too soon.
That's something you don't make jokes about. Just like, ugh, Booker T, this is one of those, what were you thinking? But then again, weirder stuff has come out of Booker T's mouth on commentary. So that's it.
And from what it looks like how this week turned out, a lot of somewhat weird stuff has come out in the world of WWE. But before we go into that, let's give a quick reaction on Extreme Rules.
Let's put it this way. I'll start.
Okay.
Let's put it this way. I could have missed this pay-per-view and missed absolutely nothing. I could have skipped this pay-per-view and everything that was there the night before or the weeks leading up to it would have been the same. Nothing would have changed. And it would just be like, oh. Basically, it was a hardcore-ish edition of Raw.
Actually, I was thinking the exact same thing. It definitely felt like a Raw than an actual pay-per-view, but really, that's how WWE was kind of treating this pay-per-view. We were saying it, like, the past couple episodes leading up to Extreme Rules, they were just, like, we had the whole WrestleMania hangover, and it was slowly disappearing back to... what's the right saying? Just on autopilot.
Normalcy.
It was just autopilot wrestling storytelling. Nothing spectacular was going on.
WrestleMania was kicked into high gear, and now we're back to normalcy. And normalcy the last year in the WWE has equaled shit. That's it.
Sadly to say, that is 100% true.
Like, maybe 10% of the product has been good. I mean, you even bring out the King of the Ring this week, okay, and it was lackluster at best.
Oh, we'll get into King of the Ring later.
Yeah, it's one of those nothing. The WWE, Extreme Rules was like an in your house.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Nothing changed. In your house, no titles ever. None of the big titles ever changed.
Yeah, I heard that correction there.
It was just, they were glorified Raws almost all the time. So that's what Extreme Rules felt like. You had some good moments, like the whole Chicago street fight, driving off in the car, coming back an hour later. Would have been nice if the camera had followed them out into the street, and that's where the match ended. Remember when street fights used to end in like the river? And Hardcore Holly versus Al Snow by the Mississippi River. Al Snow getting tangled up in that fence, and that's how Bob Holly wins.
Actually, the one thing I liked about the street fight is because they did something. Oh, excuse me, this Mountain Dew is kicking in already. I liked what they did with the Chicago street fight because it was something I really haven't seen. First, like, it completely caught everyone off guard. They get into a car and drive off, and there was no camera with them. The camera guy didn't hop in the car.
You see like, Charles Robinson running after
what?
them, like,
And then they were just like, okay, I guess the show goes on, much to piss all the fans off.
And then an hour later,
you go through two matches. Let's see. One was the tag title match, which was okay. I hope having New Day win the tag team titles actually will lead to something interesting. Other than an awesome face turn now that we're getting for Cesaro and Kid, which was long needed.
And I really want if they're turning the New Day heel, which basically is what's happening. They won by pulling the tights. Come on. Then I want the New Day to start being the New Day that was in the promos beforehand, where they're all irritable and pissed off at their situation in the WWE. I want that to come in to play. I don't want this
cheesy
clap, or we're gonna snap, that bullshit. No, get that out of here. And that Sheamus Dolph Ziggler.
No, the Kiss Me Arse match, was that the other one that was in between?
Yeah, that was the second match, and these two don't need extra gimmicks. It's been done before. Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler have opened up pay-per-views in a title match and been the match of the night.
And
they have.
It was actually you can actually say this was one of the top contenders.
It was
for match
decent.
Of the night. Like,
it wasn't
gimmick aside, they put on a great match together. They showed that these guys will be future main eventers once the big names are gone.
I don't think it was that great. I'll go decent.
For them. It was a very good match.
For them, it was decent because I've seen better. For them, it was decent.
For the time they were given.
Yeah, and
if they were given more time, then yes, they would have put on a lot better match. Probably 5 stars.
And knowing what was coming had taken me out of the match. I was like, no matter what happens, this is gonna be stupid. That's it.
And then the whole kiss shape. It's so funny. Even though we didn't have the predictions, I'm gonna say I got all the matches right except the tag team title match. Everything else was I predicted happened.
No, I got the tag title match right. I got the Kiss Me Arse match wrong because I was like, how are you going to make Sheamus lose in his pay-per-view debut back?
Oh, I knew that Ziggler was going to win. I just knew there was going to be shenanigans. Mm-hmm. I just didn't actually expect someone to actually get a pull of Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club moment. At least with Vince McMahon, it was done for actual humor, and they actually built a story. This one is just like, hey, we're just going to throw this in because, you know, it's what the kids like to watch. Grr. Just grr.
Grr. Stop it.
It was like, this match could have been interesting on its own. But, all right, moving on from the gimmick. Let's go back. they had the New Day do a backstage interview winning the tag team titles, and all of a sudden the car comes back, and then they just continue on the match. The match never ended. I liked that.
And it kind of makes me want to see what was happening.
Oh, and we'll never know.
What was happening in that 30 minutes, because when they got in the car, Luke Harper was driving, and Dean Ambrose jumped in the window.
And then when
they came back, Luke Harper rolls out the passenger seat, and Dean Ambrose gets out of the driver's seat, goes to the roof, and takes out the New Day.
I was like, okay, this is something I don't think they've ever done that in WWE. Actually had the match look like it ended, but then it just came back. It was like, no, it never ended. It just happened. It's still going on.
That's a new thing.
I liked that because it was something we haven't seen before, and that's what I loved about that match. That's why, and really, they were going all out in that match. It didn't feel like an actual ECW Extreme Rules, but it definitely felt like more extreme than what WWE usually gives out when it comes to this pay-per-view, and I liked it.
Yeah, the Dean Ambrose getting buried in a sea of chairs.
I just loved Luke Harper was just like overthrowing the chairs, and it just kept going on the other side, and like I think one actually hit Dean Ambrose. He's like, what was this?
and then Luke Harper, did he get thrown off the top and land on the chairs? If I remember correctly, he tried to go up top to the top rope to do something. Dean Ambrose all of a sudden jumps up from underneath the sea of chairs, throws him, and he lands on his ass in the sea of chairs. Mm-hmm. And he gets up right into a Dirty Deeds, and I was like, that's the first time in a long time a street fight has been a street fight.
I approved, and I that actually took match of the night for me because A, it's originality, and B, it was just a lot of fun to watch.
It was really close for me between this and I can't believe I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I'm gonna say it. I turned off my analytical brain on Sunday night. I was at a buddy's house. We were watching it as fans from back in the day, just like when we first started watching it. We didn't give a crap about anything. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed the Last Man Standing match.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I loved it.
That was actually a very close second for me.
I was like, when Roman Reigns versus The Big Show is the most enjoyable straight 20 to 25 minutes of your show, there's issues here.
I don't think there's issues. It's just it's doing what was done, what should be done for Roman Reigns.
If they did this, and when we go into the King of the Ring later, I'll tell you what should have happened, what I believe. But if this was the match at WrestleMania, basically everything from Fastlane till now is what I've wanted to see from Roman Reigns the entire time. If they built him up into the Royal Rumble like they've been building him up now, I would have been more okay.
I agree, because pre-Rumble, he was
the happy-go-lucky.
He was a cartoon character.
He was John Cena light. He was John Cena light. Now what they're doing with him is what I've wanted to see all along. And this Last Man Standing match just continues the trend of badass Roman Reigns.
I agree. I do agree.
Which is why, okay, I can now see him
in the title picture.
Did I want it to be the way that it turned out to be on Raw? No. I had bigger plans when they announced King of the Ring. When they announced King of the Ring, I had bigger plans, but they decided to throw him in a triple threat match, which he's not gonna win.
Oh, no, he's not.
No,
we don't need a prediction show to tell you that one, but we're still gonna have one because prediction shows are fun, and it was very upsetting to skip that we missed this one.
and I gotta say, I'm gonna do it. My match of the night, because of the space in between of the Dean Ambrose and Luke Harper match because of the long space in between. I'm going to go ahead and say it. My match of the night was Roman Reigns versus The Big Show in a last man standing match.
And you know what? All for you. That was my number 2. The only reason it's my number 2 is, like I said, because of the originality they did with the last man standing match and just on an entertainment level. The one real big complaint I had with the Roman Reigns Big Show match is the whole fact that, once again, it's this whole... I'm getting tired of them having to throw something on top of the guy to keep him down instead of beating him to a point where he can't get up.
I understand
the last time they really did that was Roman Reigns versus Kane on that one Raw. There's nothing wrong with basically knocking a guy out to a point where he can't get up.
Well, here's my thing, okay? It's when they do it with John Cena, it's with guys who you should be able to beat to a pulp and get... Like Bray Wyatt, when he did the last man standing match with Bray Wyatt, there's no reason that he should have... that he needed to dump that thing on top of him so that Bray Wyatt couldn't get out. There's no reason why Alberto Del Rio, when he had any last man standing match with John Cena, Batista, duct tape. Need I say more? That's it's one of those, when John Cena wins in a last man standing match, it's with it makes no sense that he'd need to tip things over on anyone. This is the Big Show we're talking about. He's the one guy in the company where I can see you needing to tip something over on him to keep him down.
I'll give you that.
So I'm like, this is the last man standing match where that makes sense. That's why I rail so much on John Cena last man standing matches, because he does stuff that he doesn't need to do. He should be able to beat these guys into submission and not being able to get up. This isn't the Big Show where he got speared through the barricade.
Speared through the barricade, speared through the tables.
Got speared through a table, got speared through barricades, got speared...
Got the other announce table.
Got the other...
On top of him, yeah.
Which officially makes sense. If you're going to get up from a spear through the barricade and a spear through the announcer's table, yeah, tip that shit over.
I guess the only thing I can say with the John Cena and at least Bray Wyatt, it doesn't really hurt Bray Wyatt that he didn't beat him to a point where he can't get up. It's where he wasn't getting up because he can't.
Yeah,
it doesn't really hurt Bray Wyatt. It's just like, oh, he could get up, he just can't because
he has
a damn thing on top of him.
It doesn't hurt. It hurts John Cena. And if that's the face of your company, that's the guy who's beating everyone in these last man standing matches, never loses, but it's all because of tipping things over on somebody, duct taping them to the ring, doing all this stuff that you shouldn't need to be able to do. Roman Reigns needed to tip that table over on the Big Show, which is why I don't take points off for that.
I guess I just took points off it because I'm just sick and tired of seeing it.
I understand,
it's understandable because it's the Big Show, duh. But I'm just sick and tired of that's how they've been ending last man standing matches a lot recently.
Yeah, and that I don't blame Roman Reigns and the Big Show. I blame John Cena.
Okay. Speaking of John Cena, do we have to talk about the Russian chain match?
It's a chain match. When are those ever good?
I actually love the one argument someone posted online saying that because John Cena ate Rusev at that final moment, wouldn't that have knocked all of those things out?
The entire match. It's a however you say it, error.
Yeah.
Continuity error. Yeah, close enough. And because the entire match, if you get touched, the
things black out
the things black
restart.
out.
They restart.
And then he hits an AA. Shouldn't he have to
do it all over again?
Do it all over again? You hit all four and win the match. No, he just had to hit the one. And I was like, even my friends who don't really go through don't really pay attention to that kind of thing, they were like, wait a minute.
It's like, wait, something just doesn't feel right about this. And really, I could be perfectly honest, that match, it lasted too long for me.
Yeah, and
it was very long.
And now they're gonna do an I Quit match. I wonder what's gonna happen.
My immediate response to this was like, wait, you're challenging John Cena to a John Cena match, aka the I Quit, the match that John Cena never loses.
And the only thing,
he's never lost this match.
The only thing going through my head at this point is, this is when Lana turns on you, right?
I know, right? I was thinking the exact same thing.
Because now you've got this report that Vince McMahon wants her to be the face of the
Divas division.
Divas, and I'm like, you know what? I really don't want her to turn into a wrestler.
Neither do I.
I don't. She works so well as a manager. If you turn her face, just hook her up with a face guy.
I agree. Some people should just not.
You have Paige be the face of the Divas division wrestling-wise, and you have Lana just be the face of the Divas division as a whole.
I agree on that.
That's fine because they both deserve it. Lana's doing the Sable thing from Sable and Mark Miro, where Sable becomes so much bigger.
I actually can see that.
Yeah. And
that makes too much sense.
So it's like, if this is where they're going, I'm fine with it. But it's an I Quit match. We know where this is going.
It's like, it's like, sure, give John Cena the win already. Jesus.
It's like, we're a month away. I can already tell you, John Cena's going to win. Why? Because John Cena doesn't quit.
The only way I could actually see John Cena quitting is if they pull a Rock Mankind moment where they took a dub of him and of John Cena saying, I quit.
And this is Rusev. They're not gonna
do that. They're not gonna do that. And exactly. They're not gonna do that. But that's the only way I could actually see it, John Cena losing, is that they do something stupid like that. But no, it's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen, and it's foregone conclusion. And this chain match, it was a chain match.
It was just another.
When is a chain match ever good? It's not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be brutal. And it wasn't brutal. It was way too long, and just WrestleMania was a good Cena Rusev match.
Yes.
I don't think they were trying to be good here. I don't think the WWE was just like, we need
a filler pay-per-view.
We need a filler extreme match. We'll do a Russian chain. And they'll just go out there and do it. Chain matches are never good. That's why going into the match, I was like, this is going to suck, and I tuned out.
So, no more saying about this, because it's actually getting me angry. Let's move on to the main event, which is Rollins versus Orton in a cage match.
Actually, first, we'll bring up the Divas, because Do
we really need to?
No, I'll just be like, the Divas title match was a typical Divas match. And we can move on now.
Okay, let's talk about an actual great title match.
I don't think it was great.
It had some spots, but other than it was good storytelling. Was it a good wrestling match? No, but it was good storytelling.
My problem, is we already knew that the cage was basically a useless device. We knew this a while ago.
Oh yeah,
when all that. But did they have to make it so obvious?
It's WWE. What do you expect? Seriously, what did you expect?
It's stupid. I never liked the way that they treat the cage match. As soon as they said steel cage match, with Kane as the gatekeeper, I'm like, okay, so this match is gonna be complete bullshit. We know that it might be good in the beginning, but we know there's going to be shenanigans at the end.
Of course.
I like the fact that Kane came out of it ambiguous.
I like it too. I like that he's been ambiguous the past couple of weeks. I like what they're doing with him storyline-wise. And that's what this match was. It wasn't about the wrestling. It was about the story. Yeah, that's what the whole thing was about. And looking at it through the story, I liked it. It was a good storytelling not a good wrestling match, other than that one leap off the top of the cage.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's the only time the cage was actually useful.
Yeah, this match could have been anything. It didn't need to be a cage match.
Oh,
I like cage matches like back in the day, the Kurt Angle and the Jeff Hardy and and even going way back to Jimmy Snuka and Don Morocco, the Mick Foley story. I like those. I don't need all the shit that they're putting on cage matches these days. I remember the good old days. I want them back.
Preaching to the choir, man. Preaching to the choir.
You want Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins with Kane as the gatekeeper? Hell in a cell.
Yeah, that's the only way it really could work. So the cell matches add more to it than just a cage. But, what do you give the pay-per-view as a whole? Ratings-wise.
I give it a peach fuzz. You can skip it. There are some good stuff. It's not complete crap. It's perfectly acceptable.
I'll give it a low goatee. Very low goatee. That's like slow. That's become the goatee. The peach fuzz grew out and became the goatee. It had some moments that I found fun, but you can easily skip it.
Yeah.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
And now moving on to what happened this week in WWE, from the King of the Ring to the events in Raw, where we got our main event for what's the pay-per-view coming up? Payback?
Payback, yes.
The triple threat match, which they should just stop with these WWE polls, because we all know it's crap.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't, I'm like, God, you are just trying to manipulate the audience in what you want. You try and get a triple threat match. At least add some intrigue to these matches. Not have it so obvious. But you know what? It's WWE. They're too obvious.
I need more Roman Reigns build-up. Okay, I get why they're putting him in the match. Seth Rollins screwed him out of the title at WrestleMania. He had it won. No, he really didn't. But he had it won. But Seth Rollins came out and denied him his opportunity. Fine, win the King of the Ring. Get your singles match.
And that was the big focus on Raw, more than the title match, was the King of the Ring tournament. And I have to tell you, from the eight superstars that were in this tournament, this has to be the weakest King of the Ring I have ever seen.
They announced this tournament, okay? I knew from the beginning they were giving it to Barrett. I knew from the beginning. You want to know why? Because they wanted to give him... They were giving him an olive branch because he basically got screwed out of a title match at Extreme Rules. He got screwed out of an Intercontinental title match at Extreme Rules because Daniel Bryan got hurt again and they don't want to strip him of the Intercontinental title. So they were like, here's
the King of the Ring.
Here's the King of the Ring tournament.
Although,
that's not how you do it.
I liked the original idea that I read about the King of the Ring tournament, that they were going to do this for a couple of weeks. Yeah. Hell, if anything, I actually talked about this with Dave and Charlie on Facebook. I would have loved them to have done a 16-man tournament. Have the
or at least
have the 4 matches on Raw, 4 matches on SmackDown, and have the final ones, and have a 2-hour special King of the Ring event on Saturday.
Or if you're gonna stick to the 8 guys, still do it over a couple weeks. Have qualifying matches.
That's the thing. The 16
to get into not even 6. You don't have to do a seed. You don't have to.
The qualifying matches are the 16 superstars to get the 8.
But then, I mean, like, you know that you're gonna have 8 slots in the actual King of the Ring tournament. You have 16 competitors, but if they lose, it's like they were never in the King of the Ring at the first place. That's what I'm saying. They lost their opportunity to be in the King of the Ring. You have the qualifying matches, and if I had 8 superstars to be in the King of the Ring, it would be Roman Reigns, Wade Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus. I would get Rusev out of this. I'd keep Neville in. So you build up Neville and Rusev, and then you have, where's Bray Wyatt? King of the Ring? Where's Bray Wyatt?
I actually would have preferred, like I was saying, I would add the 16-man, that no qualifying matches. These are just guys that were put in. Have Bo Dallas and Ryback be a match, and have Bray Wyatt actually cost Ryback the match, and then Bo Dallas just goes in and gets eliminated the next round.
Yeah, but my whole thing with this King of the Ring, this is how you build up Roman Reigns. You have him win King of the Ring, and that's how he gets that's how he gets a title match with Seth Rollins, and it makes sense.
Well, yeah, it makes sense, but they're not adding any title stipulation thing for the King of the Ring. It's just, you win the King of the Ring tournament, you're the king.
Which means that this whole thing was pointless. In my mind. In my mind, this whole thing was pointless. It was just saying, oh, they didn't announce it until the night of the pay-per-view when they found out that Daniel Bryan wasn't going to be able to face Wade Barrett.
You know what?
So I was like, as soon as they did that, I was like, Barrett's going to win.
I can agree with that.
And
you know what? I'm happy that they brought the King of the Ring tournament back. I hope they keep it a year thing, and actually do what happens when you win the King of the Ring. You actually will become a legit star. Hopefully this will be a stepping stone for Wade Barrett to slowly, sooner rather than later, be put in a title picture.
I'm fine with that. I still don't. They blew their load on this tournament.
They blew their load making this a 2-day event.
I was like, here's what you do, okay? You get rid of Payback.
Hell, make that the King of the
You
Ring
get
pay-per-view.
rid of Payback. You have Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton for the title. You have certain title matches, and you also have the King of the Ring tournament. All in one night. You have the 8 men doing the matches all in one night. It means that the person who did it, the person who wins, did it the way it was meant to be in the first place. 3 victories, 1 night.
Hell, exactly. They should have done like what they've done in the past when it comes to King of the Ring. They should get rid of Payback because it's a worthless pay-per-view. Make it come back as the King of the Ring pay-per-view and have all the superstars that don't have storylines right now, and there are plenty of them. Most of the matches that happened this week on Raw were fillers.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And these filler matches could have actually had reason to have them, and have them be King of the Ring matches. Have it be, I don't know if they have enough superstars to make it 32 again, to go back to the 32 cards. As much as I would actually have loved to have seen that.
That would be so glorious.
That would have been pretty glorious. And, well, in this case, let's just have the 16. Hell, if anything, have the 32 guys be your qualifying matches, and then the next week they'll be 16-8, and then 8-4, and then have the 4 guys wrestle in the pay-per-view for King of the Ring, and then have all the big storyline matches, your WWE World Heavyweight title match, your tag team, your so-and-so. Have them be extra matches. Have the King of the Ring, the semifinals and the finals be on the card. Kind of what they did in the past, in the 90s, and all. In the early 2000s?
Yes, the last pay-per-view was, I believe it was 2002 when Brock Lesnar won.
Was that the last one?
Yeah, I believe so. Because then they split the brands.
I thought they did it like a Raw versus SmackDown King of the Ring. You sure?
They got rid of it in 2002, in 2003.
I thought the last guy who won it was Edge.
And then they did No, he won it in 2001. 2002 was Brock Lesnar. Then they got rid of it till 2006 when King Booker.
I'm so glad they keep bringing that up whenever they have the tournament.
Yeah, it's just like this. I was so happy when they said they were bringing back the King of the Ring tournament, and then I was so disappointed
with what they did with it.
Exactly. I was like, if Wade Barrett won, like the way of old. If Wade Barrett won the way of old, I would have been like, fine. Cool.
He actually would have gotten a bigger respect out of it because it would have been a bigger boost for him.
But it feels like a gimme.
It was.
It feels like a gimme. You weren't able to get your Intercontinental title match, so you could be King of the Ring, and if they treat it like I could see them treating it like they treated Cesaro last year after the Battle Royal.
Oh,
I can see it.
I can see it. I just hope they don't do. I hope this actually will elevate him into a point.
I hope
because you can't have your main event continuously be just Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton. You need to add more names into that title picture, and I think this will help Wade Barrett be added into that spot. And let me ask you something. I think I may have been the only one who actually found this annoying every time JBL just kept saying King Bad News. I'd rather him saying King Barrett, the King of Bad News.
King Barrett, who's got some bad news.
In the kingdom of bad news.
I want Wade Barrett. I want Bad News Barrett to come out now and be like, I am King Barrett, and I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I would mark out hard.
As long as he doesn't call himself King Bad News. I hate it when JBL says it. I just hope he doesn't say it.
I'll say that. I love Wade Barrett.
So
I always have.
So same here.
My name is Wade Barrett. I get my power by choking out prostitutes.
Oh,
with the sleeves of me coat.
Oh, Jesus!
Bringing back the old days.
Oh,
the old inside jokes.
He tossed aside the prostitute choking coat. Now he has a cape, and now he has a king cape.
He has a king cape. Let's hope that he wears it like King Booker and not like King Sheamus.
Here's the question. People are actually asking, do you think he'll actually have they will pull a William Regal with this and have him have his own court?
Well, the problem with William Regal is he won the King of the Ring and then he got caught for drugs.
No, I'm not talking.
So it's like,
what does that have to do with what I was just asking?
He didn't really have a court. He didn't have time to have a court.
He had a court for a couple of weeks. For maybe even less than a month, he had a small stable, and then because of the whole drug problem, they had to scrap it. But he did have a stable. Do you think they actually will?
I don't think that they'll
recycle that storyline.
I do not think so. I don't think, because of the way that Barrett is, like William Regal is English, like the kings of old,
So what does that mean, Barrett?
Wade Barrett doesn't give a shit about kings. Doesn't give a shit about being. I mean, it would be funny. It would be funny. It would be good. But who would they put under Barrett?
The Ascension as his knights.
I think they're gonna go the way they did with Sheamus.
I won't. Oh, trust me. This was just a whole discussion that I read online. I'm like, you know what? That's an interesting topic.
It's an interesting.
If he did have a stable, I can see the Ascension becoming his knights.
I can see it. I just don't think that.
Oh, they won't do it. They won't do it.
I would laugh. That would be good. That would be good. But what I really want to see is what I said earlier. He walk out on Raw. My name is King Barrett. And I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Well, like I said, this tournament is the weakest looking tournament I've ever seen. I mean, they had Stardust versus R-Truth, and R-Truth won.
I knew that R-Truth was going to win once Wade Barrett won. They're going to have a face versus heel in the semifinals. They are. Do I like it? No.
I would have actually enjoyed seeing a match between Stardust and Cody Rhodes. Not have it be a heel versus face thing. Just have it be two guys fighting for the King of the Ring. But WWE, they took back their words of there's no face or heel in WWE. Yeah. They took back that comment. It's just like, what?
Well, it was a stupid comment to make in the first place.
It was a stupid comment, but I would love to have seen heel versus heel and see who would have been the better man on that one.
Here's the thing with the King of the Ring. If you look back, okay, I don't believe there has ever been a heel versus heel or a face versus face. There has always been a heel versus face in every matchup. It's one of the. It's a shame. It is, but that's why when Wade Barrett beat Dolph Ziggler, I knew right away that R-Truth was beating Stardust. That's another problem with the King of the Ring. You can predict. You can predict the second match by what happens in the first.
I think one of my favorite matches that came out of this whole tournament was Neville versus Harper.
Yeah.
That was an awesome match. Oh my God.
Neville is going to do big things.
He is going to do amazing things.
If they're already having him in the finals
of the King of the Ring,
King of the Ring, he's going to do big things.
That was such an awesome
and you know why
that he did.
You know why I know that? Because he's Triple H's boy.
Oh, of course. That was even a big discussion through me and Charlie and Dave. It's like, oh, it's Neville. It's like there was a whole question on whether or not Neville was going to win the tournament, and Dave was going, it's like, of course Neville was going to get it. He's Triple H's guy. He's a Triple H guy. And my response was like, you know what? Yeah. You know who else is a Triple H guy? Triple H.
There were 4 guys who were going to do big doings, and they were all in that picture that Triple H put out about a month ago. Kevin Owens, Hideo Itami, Finn Balor, and Neville. And Neville is the first. He deserved it. He held the title for a year.
Good. Yeah, he was.
So it's like, it surprises me not at all that he made it to the finals of the King of the Ring. I actually thought he was going to win it for a second.
Oh, for a small second? So did I. I'm like, this would be a very interesting... I would love to have seen what they would have done with him if he won the King of the Ring tournament. But it made more sense to give it to Barrett. Yeah. Not just because he didn't get his Intercontinental title match, but it's like, you know what? They could do more with him being the king.
By WrestleMania, I predict that Neville will be Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, I agree. I second that. He will definitely be in there.
Intercontinental, United States, one of the secondary titles.
It's his.
Because the United States title has now been built up enough for me to go...
Which one did you just say?
The United States.
Oh, okay.
I was like, it's now been built up enough that I can be like, okay, the United States title is a worthy title now. Because John Cena's been defending it every week on Raw. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, cool. If Neville beats, imagine
the rub that he would have get if he beat
Neville
Cena clean
beats
for the
Cena
title.
Clean for the title.
Interesting.
Imagine that. I would need new pants.
Oh my lord. I'm ew. Just ew, Brian.
Admit it, you would need new pants too. Don't lie.
I'm not lying. I would not need new pants, but I would be very excited.
Okay, you'd be sitting in it.
Ew. Just stop. You are just... You're gross. You are grosser.
Yeah. But either way, Neville's going to be a champion sooner than you might think.
I guess the only real, You know what? I won't even say anything because you're right. It is. They are adding prestige back to the United States Championship, with John Cena doing the Open Challenge every week. Even though this week was kind of just wasted because one, Heath Slater came out just to get his ass kicked by Rusev. Just watch, it's going to be Rusev versus Heath Slater this coming Monday.
Oh God!
And he's going to get completely squashed.
Slater's gonna slate. Okay,
Slater's going to be dropped soon.
Yeah, he is. And that's got to be a sad day for all the memers out there.
I won't cry. A tear won't shed. I like Heath
I
Slater.
will always remember when Slater slated. That's it.
Okay, one more thing to discuss before we close out tonight. Damien Sandow returning as Sandow.
That was a great promo.
It felt real, and it was similar to what they did with Ryback a while back about how he explained all where he came from, how his journey through WWE, and all of it from Tough Enough to NXT to right now. I loved this promo. It made me so happy to see it. I love everything he said, and it felt genuine. And then Curtis Axel came out, and that's when the whole thing kind of started going downhill for me. They actually could have done a lot more with that than him mimicking Axel. They could have done as like, what are you doing? So it's like, what are you doing? Why aren't you not proud of who you are? Have it be kind of like a whole come full circle. Don't you have respect for yourself to be your own name?
Suddenly Sandow turns back into the savior of the unwashed masses.
But but the unwashed masses who are in WWE, not the fans.
Yeah.
He has the fans behind his back, but for the wrestlers like Axel, it's like, why don't you? It's like, you don't have to have someone else's name to get yourself over. Look at the camera. Breaking the fourth wall. And that's what led to an actual feud with Axel and Sandow, so Sandow could slowly raise back to be actually a legit star, which I think we all know that he can do it.
And he will. It'll just take a little while.
He has a new theme song. I actually have to listen to it because I've never gotten a good hearing of it. Have you? Is this any good for a theme song?
I haven't.
Or is it just a generic thing?
I haven't really gotten the chance to pay attention and listen to it. It's not Dean Ambrose. His theme song, it doesn't. I don't think. Like, Dean Ambrose's generic theme song fits him perfectly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to listen to it a couple times to see if it fits in with Sandow.
Because I haven't heard this one to actually make any judgment. But just from the small bit that I have heard, I'm like barely. It sounds very not him.
Well, we'll listen to it over the course of the week and preview for next week. We will give our impressions of the new Damien Sandow theme song because he is the mascot, of course.
Oh, of course.
Of the Scholars of Wrestling.
He's our hero. And
he is the savior of us, the unwashed masses.
I like that. I like that. Very good, sir. Very good, sir. And I guess nothing left to say is, what do you people think of the King of the Ring tournament? What was your thoughts on it? What was your thoughts on Extreme Rules? Was it as worthless as we were saying it was? Are we crazy? Or are we actually seeing something here? Is the King of the Ring just a way to give Wade Barrett it because he didn't get the Intercontinental title match? Was the King of the Ring even King of the Ring level? Old school King of the Ring level? We want to know what you think. Leave a comment on this video. And if you like this video, we have plenty of other videos for you to listen to on our channel. Subscribe to our channel if you like what you hear. Be sure to find us on Facebook. And be sure to follow us on Twitter, the Scholars OW. And if anything, if you like us individually, you can find our separate Twitter accounts, even though...
At Atomic Beanpole, I don't really post at all, ever.
I was even just about to say that. I'm like, we really haven't posted anything on our page, on our Twitter accounts recently.
I posted a lot for WrestleMania and the Raw after WrestleMania.
After that,
I thought
not
about
so much.
I thought about doing it for Extreme Rules, but didn't really deserve it, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll see what Payback brings. I follow me on Twitter. That's what we're saying. Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter. I'm at the Avataric. Be sure to find me, and be sure to keep listening in on our show, because we are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome. Oh, just heads up. This is a very special episode of the Scholars of Wrestling because we recorded it in a car.
Vroom, vroom!
Oh, sorry. Oh.
Ah!